This is from Biafra's Got Talent. We are letting Biafrans know the reason why we should remember those who gave their lives for us, those who died that we may live.
You died to end my suffering. You died fighting for my freedom. Your blood is the seed of redemption. You are my inspiration.
The deed no wrong with them, military shots at them. 67 to 70, we remember them. 2016, 38 May, memory still lives in our mind till today. Wonder why they refuse to publicize the genocide. The world media turn blind eyes to our plight. It's time to arise, land of the rising sun. Let's rise one more time, let's rise.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipocha massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Tell them I got that day. Remember when me tell you say I got that day. Yeah, I remember that one that called us a Bruce Mero. But the way you go like a Papa Nuku. But then when we go, me tell you what I look on the walk on this Amiro. Me tell you what I day. For me the front and the rest of man I tell you what I do. Me know that you come to tell them
I want to promise you something today. We must fight together. No retreat and no surrender. We must hold them down till the end of time. The most important thing is that we will restore Biafra. May your soul rest in peace.
I look up to the sky with tears in my eye. For other Biafrans and for freedom had to die. We will never forget you as the days go by. You are always in my heart, you'll never be apart. They fought for our freedom. They died for our freedom. They fought the Nigerian soldiers in the war front. Without food, without guns. For our freedom, for our life, for our own good, for our children. We love them, our heroes. We want them.
My heart bleeds when I saw them slain. Where will I be now if not then? They will remain indelible in my heart forever, 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 and never, and never, and never.
We serve in your plantation, and the way you paid us back with your bloody starvation. We play in our history that the death of my people is a mystery. No going back to get to a victory. I had a voice now call for vengeance. I never get bombed, I'ma blow like a vengeance.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipocha massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Where will I be now if not you? You died at Mali, 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 Mali.
They were starved to death because of our freedom, and they paid the debt for our freedom. Flag high for those that died in the genocide, fighting for you and I. There is pain in our heart, we bleeding inside, tears in the eyes, so I'm following you.
This is for my fallen heroes. Give them motivation, people. It's like I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Cause to be a cast, I need to be a nurse. If we did not retire, yeah.
They paid the ultimate price. Yeah. They died for me, for the freedom of my unborn child. Yeah. We live for the legacy.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Yeah, you know what it is.
It's like I'm looking at myself in
We
the
must
mirror.
revenge, and we must stand to represent who we are.
Fight on, brave boys, fight on, heroes of our fatherland. Pursue the enemy, harass him, destroy the invader. March on, brave boys, now that victory is in sight. March on and hasten the disintegration of the enemy already set in motion.
Fighting a war, knowing the difficulties, the odds against us, there is an element of fatalism, people feeling, well, if the world chooses to abandon us, then perhaps it is better we all perish. They don't ever consider a Biafra not free. They believe in either Biafra free or no Biafra at all. That means none of us living to see it.
I need Biafra freedom. We Biafrans, we need Biafra freedom. For this, I decided, even to die, that Biafra must have its own freedom.
I want us to work systematically towards the establishment of a good, progressive, and democratic society where all vestiges of privilege and social injustice will be abolished, and the rich contribute more for the welfare of the poor. If civil war comes, and I do think it is imminent, you're quite right, it will for us be the price of freedom. Our people here have for a long time been prepared for this eventuality, and I am confident of their readiness. I think that when it does come, that the people on the other side would be surprised as to what they're going to get. And I'm confident that it will not last long.
We'll surely come out as a nation because we're fighting a just cause. Even a little child on the street will tell you this. We shall never go back to Nigeria again. God's grace will surely emerge as a nation. And so, as far as this war continues, we'll fight to the last man.
This is what Biafra is, the end of the journey for a persecuted, massacred, pursued people. We have made all attempts at a democratic resolution of this crisis. I have offered open elections, plebiscite. I have offered just an open carte blanche suggestion, anybody who can find a democratic way of finding out the wishes of the people, let him suggest it and we will go for it.
Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Holy, holy.
If you do not believe in what we are doing, then you better get out. We're not going to stop. God knows we can never stop until Biafra is restored. We are peace-loving people. We abhor death and killing of another soul. It's in our nature, that's how we are. But because of that, they have been coming and killing us all these years. We've kept quiet. They've been killing and killing and killing quiet. We have a case at the ICC. We have a case at Africa Union. We have a case at, what else again? Pending before the UN in New York. We've been to Geneva to tender our case. Before UN, till today, nothing. In fact, the more we complain to them, the more they come to abduct and rape our children, the more they come to kill us, the more they want to take over our land and our forests. And who told them that's going to be possible in our time? In a movement that I lead. You think you can come into our land and take it over? Oh dear. That means you don't know who we are.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us on today's program. I appreciate everyone that has connected, wherever you are connecting from. Please, as you join us, like and share the program to all platforms. Share to family and friends. Share to everyone that is close to you. Invite others to join us on this very program. It is very, very important. Join us this very evening as we dive into some issues. Still on the matter we were discussing this morning. We are still on that matter. A lot is happening and we cannot keep silent. A lot is happening and we cannot keep silent. We need to put an end to what is going on. How do we put an end to it? The only way we can put an end to it is by focusing and make sure we respond to every lie the enemies are telling. If you are a genuine Biafran, this is the time for you to show yourself. There is a plan that is going on that is not even hidden. You and I have seen it. This plan has been made from the day Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped. Even before he's kidnapped. This thing you are seeing today is part of the plan. What you are seeing today is part of the plan. From day one, even before Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, this very thing that is happening today is part of the plan. Only that they were not able to carry it out. They could not be able to carry it out because of the presence of the dragon. The plan was that after kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they will make him irrelevant. They will make Biafrans to hate him. They will push lie against him and make sure the Biafran people turn back to him, at him. But when they discovered that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is indestructible and you cannot remove the love the Biafrans have on him, they tried, and Mazi Simon Ekpa stopped them. When they tried to change the name of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, remove him from IPOB, they started this project. Immediately, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped. Only Mazi Simon Ekpa was paying attention, and he fought them single-handedly, and we joined him, and we fought these people to stand still. They could not be able to survive. Until Mazi Simon Ekpa was out of the picture, today they activate that same project. This plan you are seeing today, this campaign to destroy the image of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and his reputation globally, it is part of the plan of his kidnap. They know that he is the face of the struggle, and they know that he is clean, pure. They have tried bribery, it did not work. They tried compensation, it did not work. They tried gift, it did not work. They have tried forcing him, it did not work. They tried threatening him, it did not work. They took the life of his parents, it did not work. And finally today, what they are trying to do is to destroy the reputation of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the face of the Biafran people. To destroy the image of the IPOB. But I bet you cannot destroy what you did not create. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu knew today will come. That is why he has always said that it will take you 1 billion years, 1,000 years to destroy IPOB. That is why he always says that it will take you 1,000 years to destroy IPOB. Now you begin to understand better. What you are seeing happening today is something that has been planned long before now. And when I remember Mazi Simon was suffering in this very case, I pray that he comes out and sees this for himself. He fought this battle. He fought this battle single-handedly. All of them ganged up. The same way they ganged up against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that was how they ganged up against Mazi Simon. But they could not defeat him. They could not defeat Mazi Simon with all their lies and propaganda. They could not. They could not. Today, they have turned to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, blackmailing him, destroying his reputation, destroying his name. I pity those people who are still listening to these idiots. Sometimes when I come across their video, I can't even watch it for 1 second. I can't even listen to their video once because what they are talking about doesn't make sense. What they are saying doesn't make sense. That you hijack the Radio Biafra and you think you had the Radio Biafra when Mazi Simon was here. Without a Radio Biafra, he was still pulling weight. Mazi Simon took over the struggle and brought it to this level that it became a global issue. With your Radio Biafra, you couldn't stop Mazi Simon. You think you can stop Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? The same Radio Biafra Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself created. I see many of them today. If you go there, all they are speaking is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You can imagine. For you to know that this is a plan from the government, go to all their media network. All the media in Nigeria, all their newspaper, their title is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, sacked by IPOB. You can imagine the kind of title they are putting. Every one of them on the media, that is what they are promoting. That Mazi Nnamdi Kanu sacked by IPOB. Something that they know is impossible. Impossible. You can't sack Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from IPOB. The only thing that will remove Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from IPOB is what he said. That if he deviates, anytime he deviates, that is the only time Mazi Nnamdi Kanu can be removed from IPOB by the Biafran people, not by any DOS or any nonsense. By the Biafran people. Biafran people will reject him. But as he stands today, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has never deviated an inch. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, even in life sentence, he is still fighting. In life sentence, he's making case across the whole world. With the life sentence, he's still in the front line fighting for you and I. And you see people on camera. Oh, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he think he's the Alpha and Omega. He is not what he said that we go. He can't be controlling everybody. He's not the only one that has sense. He's not the only one that have knowledge. He's not the only one that has sense. I saw one idiot, and that clown is in Homeland, though. That is not only Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that has sense. And I asked him, what knowledge do you have? What is your qualification? Even naturally, common sense, forget about education. In common sense, do you have common sense? You don't. And you are challenging the supreme leader of IPOB. You are challenging the supreme leader of IPOB. That he doesn't have the right to fire and hire. The same person that created you while he was in detention, in Kuje, from Kuje. And today you have grown wings. You think you have grown bigger than Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It is now we will know that Chukwu Okike Abiama called him. If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was called by a man, all nonsense you are doing will work for you. But if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was called by Chukwu Okike Abiama himself and given this assignment, as many as fighting against him and destroying his image, they will meet their grave, they meet their Waterloo. Every one of them, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will send a condolence message to their families one by one. Every one of them will say, wishing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu evil. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will send a condolence message to every one of them. bunch of idiots and criminals, right, left, and center, people that they don't know their left and right. They are challenging the supreme leader of IPOB. Bunch of idiots that don't know their left and right, who has not offered any meaningful thing in their own life. They have not done anything meaningful for themselves, let alone doing for another person. But all of them think they will get their muzzle to challenge the supreme leader of IPOB. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that he himself is the DOS. The DOS that we know is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself. He literally picked a bunch of idiots that doesn't know their life right to teach them and educate them and make them be reasonable and responsible. But unfortunately, wash a pig, bath a pig will remain a pig. Today they have shown what they are made of. These were the people, the same way they ganged up and blackmailed Mazi Samareba. Went in Biafra and took many lives, destroyed the ESN. They literally destroyed the ESN. I'm going to look for that very audio where that bastard announced and said that governors came and made them and told them to hand them over the ESN, and they did. And today they come to challenge the spirit of IPOB. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gave an express reason why they are not worthy to come anywhere and close anymore. And remember, he has always said it that we don't treat cancer, we cut it off. The sacking of this bunch of idiots is long overdue. Every single one of them that is running their mouth right, left, and center, led by a law, but Nokwa, the one that called herself Nokwa Chimezie, the Imiezi woman, an unrepentant Jezebel, that her own punishment will extend to her generation unborn. I never see a woman as wicked as that. I don't know why we are producing wicked women in Biafra struggle. I don't know why. So many Jezebels coming as women in Biafra struggle. A woman. You are not even a member of IPOB. You are not a Biafran supporter. Why are you bent on interfering and destroying the reputation and image of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Just to serve your Fulani masters through your politicians. That is why you are bent on attacking Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for an organization that you know nothing about. All they are doing today is to destroy the reputation of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And I bet you people are digging your grave. You can never destroy his reputation. This video you are seeing is what they are circulating everywhere and playing every day. And we are going to play this video once again this evening before we go into their media to bring the media report. Let us once again play this video this evening for you to hear exactly what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said. That before ever you can think of removing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, listen to this video very well. After listening to the video, then you come and give us evidence. Show us what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have done wrong, that we warrant the insult you are giving him. Listen to what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have said here.
IPOB has a mind of its own. If I stop living up to expectation, this same IPOB that I set up will reject me. Do you know that?
IPOB have a mind of its own. Any day I stop living up to expectation, IPOB will reject me. The question is, has Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stopped living up to expectation? Has Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stopped living up to the expectation? And who has the right to answer that question? It is the Biafran people, not some bunch of idiots and clowns who doesn't know their left and left. If you say Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has stopped living up to this, can you just line up for us how he has stopped living up to expectation? Our expectation of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is to continue to pursue the cause of Biafra Just as he said, it is either Biafra or death. It is either he gets Biafra or he dies fighting for Biafra. And he has remained on that course, even in life sentence, even the threat of death sentence, he's still on that course. Prizes has been given, money has been shared, and yet he refused. And people will share this video and say, what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said. Listen to what he said.
IPOB has a mind of its own. If I stop living up to expectation, this same IPOB that I set up will reject me. Do you know that? And IPOB does not belong to me. Biafra does not belong to me. It doesn't belong to my family. It belongs to all of us.
You heard him clearly. Biafra belongs to all of us. Any day he stopped living up to the expectation of Biafran people, not up to the expectation of Chike Doziem, not up to the expectation of DOS. Any day Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stop living up to the expectation of Biafrans. What is our expectation? The pursuit of Biafran cause. IPOB will reject him. A clear statement. But this bunch of idiots and criminals are running around right and center, pushing their propaganda and blackmail, trying to satisfy their ego and wickedness. But they think they can change the narrative. They cannot change anything. We are formidable, and we are going nowhere. It is either Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or nothing. It is not even open for debates. The leadership of IPOB is not open for debate. We are just responding because of some ignorant people. Apart from that, it's not open for debate. My wonderful people, let us go to their media and see what they have. We know that all this thing is the work of the Janjaweed, the people that are orchestrating all these plans and moves. Is the Nigerian government. Nigerian government is the one carrying out all this, sponsoring all this attack against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Nigerian government is the one sponsoring it. A failed country. All they have to do is to spend their money to go and lobby the United States. They waste money, spend money only to lobby the United States. What are you going to lobby? Are you going to lobby against a truth that the whole world is seeing? Something that is very clear and obvious. You go and you spend money, you are lobbying to cover the truth. The more they make move to cover it, the more it comes out. The Zoological Republic is dead. I pity those of them who think that something can change. Like those of them who are talking about obedience. Sorry to disappoint you, nothing is going to change. Nigeria is gone and gone for good. And I want you to listen to this. Before we go into the media, let us listen to this very video that was made by one of them. It's one Nigerian, but they know that none of them can remove Tinubu. You know, when we say it will be like we were looking at it. Hear it from it.
No party can win election in Nigeria. I repeat, no party, no election can change this government. Look at what they've done in Ekiti. They said people that didn't collect their voters card, they are only 30,000. They were more than that. They are over 400,000. What they did, they now gave the cards to APC. You know, the same way Larry because enter INET server, brought out EK's details. They have entered in Ekiti, collected all the voters cards that were abandoned. They now got non-indigens from the states. They now give them 20,000 to be using the cards to vote. Watch it, you're watching it. You're seeing APC, you see bar on their card. So now these are non-indigens from Ekiti. Non-indigens. So INEC gave APC the cards that the people didn't collect. They are now sharing the cards to non-indigenous and giving them 20,000 with it to go and vote. Even though the picture is not their picture, it's only the card.
That is
You
Nigeria.
just go there and use the card. Even the top printing does not work. They've removed that. So you can see why Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping keeps growing in our country. Because good people that are meant to change our fortune are being rigged out. Look at this. Does this make sense to you? You are sharing cards to non-indigenous. Cards that are supposed to be in custody of INEC. You are now sharing them to non-indigenous to go and vote. Suddenly, Ikere, that is the second largest, does not produce the second largest vote anymore. They've changed it on their server. So areas that they want to use those cards, their voting strength don't shoot up. Bam! Because they don't go collect the uncollected cards. They don't go collect them. And they are sharing it with 20,000 for people to vote in our states, and they are not registered. So you can see why Nigeria no be good. Election cannot change government in this country. I swear to God. Because if we are like this, Omo, the country is gone. INEC, shame.
You know, when we tell them the country is gone, they don't believe. They will still be talking about one Nigeria, one Nigeria. But for us, we know that the country is gone long before now, and we are not looking back. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. We are not looking back. The zoo is gone, and gone for good. So let us go again to this very news, and let us hear what they have on their media. The report they have, confirming everything we are saying that Nigeria is irredeemable.
The Presidential Task Force. Outside Nigeria, US-Iran talks suspended as JD Vance pulls out of Switzerland trade. And as sport co-hosts, Mexico and Canada qualify for the dissolved third administration of the Directorate of State decide for a military intervention fund associates after the dissolution of the administration was invalid because they no longer held any recognized office within the organizations. IPOB maintained that under his leadership and under the governorship law, only the office of imprisonment for terrorism charges. Meanwhile, the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB has dismissed the purported suspension and expulsion of its leader, Nnamdi Kanu, by the faction led by Chika Edoziem, describing the move as unconstitutional, non-void, and an exercise in futility by individuals whose tenure has already been terminated. In a statement issued by IPOB spokesperson Ima Powerful, the group said Edoziem and members of the dissolved third administration of the Directorate of State U.S. Electoral Authority to take any action against them having been removed from office before issuing the declaration. According to IPOB, Kanu, acting under powers vested in him by the its Code of Conduct, recently dissolved the third DUS administration headed by Edoziem and inaugurated a new leadership structure, the fourth DUS administration under the leadership of Chris Wang. The group argued that any action taken by Edoziem and his associates after the dissolution of the administration was invalid because they no longer held any recognized office within the organizations. IPOB maintained that under his leadership and under his governorship law, only the office of the supreme leader has the authority to appoint, suspend, dismiss, resolve principal officers and administrative structures within the organization. Citing provisions of the Code of Conduct, the group said the power to appoint, suspend, or dismiss principal officers vests exclusively in Kanu and can only be exercised by another official if expressly delegated by him. On that basis, IPOB dismissed and insisted rather that the imposed suspension of Kanu by a Muslims group was not only invalid, but constitutionally impossible. Away from IPOB story now to insecurity, when the federal government has asked the journalists to prioritize national security and patriotism by reviewing the activities of terrorists, bandits, and other criminal elements of their front pages. One of the English Minister of Information and National Reputation spoke on Thursday in Abuja at a two-day National Security Summit organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists (NUJ). According to these stories, the summit organized in collaboration with the Department of State Services as Activism, theme, media and security agencies as partners in nation building. It is said by the federal government under President Bola Tinubu remain tools as revenue allocation made in 26. On health matters now. Okay, let's go straight to the first story of a news item, which is IPOB. There appear to be chaos in the indigenous people of Biafra, probably because of the absence of its leader, Nnamdi Kanu. Now, apparently there are two factions. One of the factions just suspended the leader, Nnamdi Kanu, over quote unguarded utterances. What do you make of the division happening right now in IPOB?
When it looks like you have the number of factors for the challenges that IPOB have today, for more importantly, as you said, the absence of the people sometimes very occupied in that social housing of money, and different outlook in a complex organization like the IPOB. And you know, it's not just the Kanu that we have. One of the leaders is also in prison, somewhere in no. So there's a lot of challenge. And on a daily basis, you and I will also do that. The state is playing a lot of the game, not just of the leader, but on the organization as a whole. For example, we have been told that there are powerful discussions in Kanu, which is not unusual. When Nelson Mandela was in prison, the apartheid regime was equal to Victoria for prison in negotiating with him and the leaders and Boya. So the leadership aspect is very, very beneficial. But also more importantly, you and I who the structure of IPOB is very, very used in the sense that we have at the same time same people claiming to be the IPOB who are based in America, who are based on, but I think people set down. Sometimes people sit down and I'm coming to trouble, taking over the responsibility of leadership of the IPOB. So, somewhere that we and get the hands together and then continue to push forward whatever things really require IPOB to achieve as an organization and for the Igbo people of Nigeria. IPOB, even though it's been seen or described as very organization, in my way, speaking to the IPOB speaking to the superstructure of the Nigerian nation. If IPOB issues are well managed and well properly resourced and all that, it will help in some way ethics, further civic groups in Nigeria, and realizing whatever Microsoft and Microsoft of we also go out between the Nigerian nation. Because Nigerian society today is not what the average Nigerian people desire. And without an organization to be nudging us and to be reminding us to be insisting that we follow people and apply and back to federalism, then things will never change.
Now, IPOB as an organization has assumed a controversial entity, while as you've pointed out in passing, the original reason for its formation is there are different ideology as to what IPOB is, but the core reason a lot of people argue was because of the alleged marginalization of southeasterners in Nigeria, as opposed to the north and the other south of the south that have some would argue have enjoyed immense benefits of the amalgamation of Nigeria in terms of leadership, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of development, while the southeast have been lacking, some would argue. But over time, some would say it's a way of trying to actualize will I say, to help the Igbos, actually been controversial in terms of violence. Do you think it is a faction of IPOB that is giving this IPOB as a whole a bad name? Because that's what it looks like with these different factions we are seeing now.
When the agitation for incorporation, for acceptance, for development of people land, like most other parts of Nigeria, started a long time ago, but we could say maybe after the coup of the agitation there. And that agitation that is getting in the government ever since then. You remember Mr. Chief Ojuku directed the attempt to flee from Nigeria because of what he perceived to be marginalization of the Igbo people, especially after the. And thereafter we have had people like that who are wicked and all that, who at the time too was also the leader of what the IPOB are now doing now. And then out of the blues, Nnamdi Kanu came into the system, and then in a more militant aggressive manner, and then the special authority came. So when you look at all these things that I have identified, you will find out that the people who have behind agitations and morals, and then the program is daily for and all that, have always been interpreted and always been different names by different people, depending on what kind of vibe these people belong to. Ujuku was described as no man, and as a crazy person, this and that and all that. And one wicked was even best, was described or saying, okay, somebody was not have to kind of reach or line his pocket the agitation. And of course, Nnamdi Kanu came to Spain, and people are seeing him as a blood-thirsty individual. So these things are not of common. This is what the issue of this kind of agitation over the world, whether it's someone came against our father in South Africa, dead by let's say exactly, or it was dead by the Council of Cuba to free the Cuba from the dominance of the American state, or the Nigerian struggle for independence and war. And people were always called by independence and all that. It is when you succeed, after you have achieved your goal and all that, then people will now begin to treat you and speak to you and also describe you in very polite terms. Look at the man who could not see and see and war at you, and then the man who took over attack and war at you. He was described and then the attacked, and the answer was put on his head by the American nation. But the man has sought the best power is now put on the head. It's Mr. Donald Trump. These are kind of freedom and that people are struggling from, people who are struggling from independence world again. The thing will be that it should be remain focused, get their policies and actions right, and minimize violence as much as possible. And because, like we have seen in India, can't let a non-violent agitation, and then we see the substrate independence from India from the city. I think IPOB can achieve the models of operation of that organization is huge. And if they would not want to be called one manner of things by their opponents, or people really don't like what they are doing, or people even have certain interest in seeing Nigeria doing what they, which is not their desire of the former man of this country.
Now, IPOB itself was prescribed as a terrorist organization that it's generated several reactions, controversial reactions to say the least. Why some in support of it that cited sort of the violence that they said IPOB purportedly championed. Others have pointed to the fact that the federal government at that time was quick to prescribe IPOB as a terrorist organization when there was an actual terrorist organization, operating in open from the northern part of Nigeria. That the government at that time was absorbing into a society, refusing to prescribe the organization as a terrorist organization. Instead, you have stakeholders from that part of the country who say that these are brothers, and now it has gone far as even the Nigerian army, under the guise of non-kinetic approach, absorbing them into the society via rehabilitation and financial backing and stuff like that. What do you say about these two different reactions?
Well, that is the tragedy of the Nigerian state. The tragedy in the sense that both sides will find out that the power is never respected from the position of the society. Politicians across the world on different states and all that will always have their vested interests and all that. And most times when they tell that can be protecting the interest of the state, it is actually their own vested interest that they are protected. The Nigerian ruling class has should be expected, whether the deal is not or deal south or deal west or south or even south and all that, have never been exposed to the kinds of things that IPOB is doing. So they always also call those and therefore the other people, the other part of the community who are doing more and IPOB was unable to absorb and all that. You find that those who they have supporters there and there, maybe because we pretended to be fighting for a religion, maybe because we come from a historic tribe Nigeria, or maybe because they even have some of their own people, sympathizers in government, who will always find a way to get things for them when politics have been taken by the state or by the government and whatever. So, what I'm telling us is that most times, this or different approach, this discrimination, meaning what is done to whoever, what is done to the bandits and kidnappers, the other part of the country and all that. It's a matter of the better respect of the political class, the ruling class, and also who and who is the power at any particular period of time and water. I am sure you and I will know that if a person were to give power in approach to various different, we have solved one approach to and water in the areas in which and all that. And then the approach of President Bola Tinubu and also that he is also evolving. Now that we are seen 3 years of the government, and we can see that he has also been very cautious as regards how the kidnapping issue, how the bandit issue in the north is going to be handled. So it boils down to political will. and then the vested interest of who is in power at any particular period of time. If they go to set a man like Jonathan said, so when he was in power and all that, they most likely will be accused of hatred, both in particular ethnicity or side of the country, or even committing genocide against the use of a particular section or a particular section of the country. And then you and I will know that the tribe, this party represents, like I said, is a very powerful tribe in the nation. Whereas the platform on which IPOB is a lot more weaker than what these parties and then the kidnappers from the section of the country are standing upon. So this is what is making it different. And then the political will, people looking at the next election, rather than whether Nigeria will be able to survive with all these things going on. And then the next election, not that it is fast or not. It is when you have a nation that individuals and citizens reality in their life. I hope the political class will understand it.
In other words, the federal government is handling IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu situation with a stick, while they are handling the terrorists, and bandits, and criminals from the northern parts as using the carrot approach.
There is clearly double standard in the way the people are being handled. It is now that generals are being kidnapped and killed, commissioners of police are killed, and then places of officers and all that, or the high police officers are being kidnapped and killed and all that. That we are beginning to see a new way away for now this issue should start.
Now, there is no time for example. There is no. Okay.
Yes, this is very important. Look at what happened. The good children that have been kidnapped in Nigeria, and the following day, less than 12 hours and all that, and the governor of Nigeria actually went and made a law, banning all the from getting a bomb. It is a kind of a refuge operation and all that. What we have the form that I suspect that we can actually is not too comfortable with the political leaning of the country and the supporters.
But we have a Sheikh Gumi, playing the same role in the north.
Exactly. But you and I know that even the state, the federal government, and then the state in which the Gumi is arrested, they are also using his approach with a sort of sentiment, with a peace code. Some other countries of the world are not afraid. The approach will have been different.
Okay.
They are not afraid of it.
Okay, now talking about approach, the federal government has asked journalists to prioritize national stability and patriotism by keeping the activities of terrorists, bandits, and other criminal elements off their front pages. Now, every profession have almost every profession actually have its different ideology that guides that profession, including journalism. Journalism, media, we have different ideology that governs journalism. I mean, it is not monolithic. While there are some journalists that will want to tell the approach of government, try to be very cautious and guard the secrecy of military activities. There are some journalists that will think, look, we are in a civilian and democratic setting, and in the democratic setting, no secrets is out of realm of revelation. Obviously, when you're talking about national security, you have to handle it with some level of delicacy. But to try to say journalism to take activities of terrorists, bandits, and other criminals, criminal elements off the front page, meaning we shouldn't talk about it. What do you think of these nuances of approach to security?
Honestly speaking, I feel amazed when I see an air politician standing sure that there's a way and manner to do their job. Like you yourself are rightly pointed out, every profession's life or in the world or everywhere, whether it's law, whether it's journalism, medicine, even whether it's politics or another, how they are ethics fit to comply with our principles and not. They use those. To the best of my knowledge, I have not seen too many Nigerian journalists go against the ethics of their profession. Even go against the ethics of their own political practices and other. So when they begin to describe and say to journalists, we are now, this is their job and all that, because psychiatrists that give terribly and live. But more importantly, know that even the military, even the politicians, are they not direct beneficiaries of the reportage that the Nigerian journalists are. Without the journalists and others, we wouldn't have known the ramifications of this banditry and kidnapping that is going on in the country. Rather, Portugal would have wanted to suppress some of these people of education or aspects of the kidnapping and banditry and all that. So, such a time in which the whole country would have been engulfed in kidnapping and banditry, and then you and I would have become helpless because we would have become overwhelmed and what it takes to know. Then the journalists have been the politicians and then a lot of groups and attacks that are not what the politicians think is happening. Is there anywhere in the world that this happen? Whether it's France or whatever it's like that, and then the media will shut out of it, and then they will say, don't report it. And like the journalist will always say, when the man finds a job, it doesn't make a new copy. But when when the job finds a man, it doesn't make a new copy. But when the man that are now using the dog and all that, of course, that will be the front page of most press media, and then will be the front that will be on the front page of any electronic media programs and forums. The Nigerians tend to be tolerant of what the Nigerian journalists are saying. If the journalists are doing their work properly, if the politicians are doing their work properly, if they are not the responsibility of the quarantine and providing security for the Nigerian people and their property, if they will invest more in the security agents and all that, I am sure we will not have the kind of challenge that we have now. Rather, the politicians will play themselves on what is the government support and not the media on what they are putting out there for the average Nigerian person to go. The biggest thing that happens. Information is power. Without information, people will be in the dark. Now, therefore, that's not the possible of that. You and I know that we have to travel to when to travel here and how to travel to some of these places. If the media are not supporting the platform all over the country and all that, imagine what would have been happening to all of information.
Now, we as the media, we find ourselves in a situation where it is difficult to get information as far as the activities of terrorists, the bandits, and other criminal elements, is concerned. We find it very difficult. We have to rely most times information from the federal government. But then again, we're talking about and again now we're talking about the federal governments that have been alleged to be full of propaganda and lies, to try to suppress the true details of information. So, how would you advise the media to go about this? Because this is looking more like a dance between the federal government and the organization in Nigeria. And of course, the international media have accused the Nigerian media of being lazy as far as information getting is concerned. That they don't understand. They don't understand that it's a very delicate affair, especially with a country that is not exactly practicing democracy as it ought to be.
I agree with you as well. I think, let me take start my analysis from what happened from other parts of the world. You find out America is at war now with that border. But inside within the army, air force and navy and border, and the other security agencies, just as others. These journalists or journalists are expecting. They are part of those operations and others. They are still taking about the even go to the bank, sometimes the soldiers and other weapons for the family. And then there is a variety of talents in which the media and the people in the set of operations communicated with each other for the proper defense. Because you know that the population is power and you don't want to keep their people in the dark. For here, the political class would rather want to keep us in the dark because they believe that not necessarily the problem which the problem go away on its own. Whereas it doesn't happen that point. Like you said, these media are expected in the army to be when they are going to some of these operations and all that. I am sure gathering information and reporting clearly and accurately what happened. Using the too difficult for the Nigerian media that I know. Most of these people are well educated, go to some of the self-food in the war. That some of those responsible for the world media, not the West people. It's not a matter of not being educated. It's not a matter of not having the right skill. Even though you have problems, treatment with people who work, and then they go on school, they pay very for which makes it difficult. No insurance policies and all of this for people to be able to do their job without Nigeria or favor. Look at what happened in Palestine. Look at the number of journalists that were killed in Palestine when the US and Israel were forming those countries. They both were amazing. For the journalists, refused to see Palestine. They refused to abandon for Palestine. They feel that the entire world is not know what is happening in those places. From here, it's a different
it is. Now, still talking about insecurity. About 500 billion naira was deducted from the Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) revenue for May 2026 to fund national security emergency intervention. According to multiple sources, the deduction was made before the monthly revenue sharing exercise among the federal government, states, and local government council. That's according to a senior official given to the FAC proceedings. Now, we get report of this every day. During budgets, during the budgets, we get to see the amount of money earmarked every year for national security and additional monies being added to national security. But with insecurity going from bad to worse, what do you make of the money allocated every year for national security?
Honestly speaking, first and foremost, let me say that going to the Federation account to go and drop money to fund security is against the law, the spirit of the Appropriation Act. The president does not have the power to engage in that kind of action. If the security is self-funded, the government needs to do that to both take a supplementary project, propose at the National Assembly, and then they will debate it and when the state will pass it. So I am sure the National Assembly that will not deliberately deny the security agencies the requisition to appropriate funding to be able to carry out their responsibilities as security agencies. In fact, it is this kind of opaque approach to taking to accessing money that the funds, that the fuel, that there's no transparency and that everything, and that there is corruption in the way and manner, security funding and manage different countries. And then with regard to the money that was set to assist, my own opinion, that is the military armaments are very, very expensive. They're very, very expensive. And now that Ukraine and Russia are fighting, and then they also have to buy weapons from different parts of the world and war and so. It even become more difficult to be able to have access to weapons. But most of these weapons, it's not something you go and pick from the shelf as if they have manufactured and just go and buy. As you want to buy bread or you want to buy akara. You have to make orders for them and then you manufacture most of them. If you see the one that are already made as $1, one country or the other must have the order from them, and when they put it in their own for you. If you are buying from that kind of company or third party and all that, it becomes even more expensive. Please investigate. One of the bandits was shown on social media where a night mission couple, which was set to cost $2,500. And here a night couple cost $2,500. Just one. So if you put the $500 to the battlefield, even 1,000 into the battlefield, and all of them have to wear a night mission double and water. Now times that $2,500, and then with the exchange rate and dollar, you and I will know that people want the federal government and population committee to access or to have and all that. It's a bitter. We need to put our security agency in a more robust manner, more than accordingly put the politicians and the who are the participants and war have you. It will cut down the cost of politics, the cost of governance, so that we'll be able to access or make more money available to the security agency. For one thing, war is an expensive gambling, and that's why I've said many times, in which even, like you said, the ridicule you. The propaganda is also wrong. Physical, when you are the work of you need to have a war economy. You have to put in place a war economy. I wish I would when we had people war. But not in almost 2 years that we have started war in the different parts of the country and others. We don't have a war economy. And that is why our approach is to acquire weapons, armaments, and all that. Okay. And then only of the country territory law.
Because of time, let's quickly go to the last topic for discussion. In 2 minutes, fresh controversy has erupted over the 6-month suspension of Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, following revelations by lawmaker representing FCT, Senator Litikin, that she neither swore nor signed the committee report that recommended disciplinary action. Now, Senate spokesman Bamidele has said that the Rep Chamber will probe questions about the authenticity of signatures and endorsements attached to the report adopted by the Senate. Now, in 2 minutes, what's your take in the
FM? I'm actually quite elated today. Yes, I'm quite elated today. Very peaceful, yes, sir. So thank you for all of you who has always been part of the family from the onset. We love you. We appreciate you. We thank you. And we love you because you have been part of the process to supposedly create a Nigeria that works for all. Your voice resonates. Your voice is being... I will set up a small kiosk. All right, we would work from a certain time to be done the right way. And what exactly is the rift between South Africans and Nigerians? So, according to them, this mounting anti-immigrant sentiment, according to South Africans, is driven by unemployment, overburdened public services, and accusations that some migrants are involved in undocumented immigration or organized crime. And the hostility has resulted in protests, looting, safety fears, obviously prompting a lot of African nations to see how they can evacuate their people back to their home countries. A lot of Nigerians suppose that they went to South Africa when they were very little, and all they have known there is their home. Now, back to the conversation. So when this particular situation occurred, the South African sentiment came up. The South Africans are complaining that most of the criminal activities in South Africa were done by Nigerians. They said the Nigerians were taking their women, were using their women as cover to supposedly attain some sense of permanent residence there. This sentiment started off in social media, but people did not even understand the danger they were setting in. And before you know, the situation about the indoctrination of a Nigerian king from the southeast, I think in South Africa, came up. And the way the story was peddled was a coronation of a Nigerian king that is from the southeast. There's a difference between indoctrination or induction or something and coronation. Now, if you say coronation, you're obviously setting up a kingdom in somebody's land, and already things are already tense. You know how Nigerians are. We're rambunctious. We're also loud. We like to be seen. But the whole thing seemed to have either been misrepresented or misconstrued, and it was accelerated on social media. The next thing, protests. Nigerians must leave. You guys are marrying our women. You're getting involved in this and all forms of stuff. We thought it was going to be something small. Meanwhile, back home, this thing was politicized and ethnicized, and certain ethnic groups were jubilating that yes, this is it. Maybe they thought it was something that was just going to affect a particular region. Things got worse, and before you know, there was a protest. The Nigerian government had to investigate what was happening to quell the situation. We thought things were okay until what has become what is happening now. We are now seeing a situation where those that instigated this thing, forgetting that these guys already had a tense atmosphere, forgetting that anything that happens will affect everybody. Now they're all quiet. They can't talk because the Nigerians who are being evacuated are not just from one tribe or one ethnic group. They're from different tribes and different ethnic groups. And now they have to defend themselves. So what am I trying to say? We're at a crossroad in this country. And it's very important that at this point in time, we are able to differentiate the polarization being done by the political elements and the fact that we only have ourselves. We're the only ones that can protect ourselves. A lot of Nigerians say it's time for us to go our separate ways and it's time for us to introduce restructuring or regionalization. I'm going to be speaking with a barrister, Fred Nzako. He's going to tell us what is the process that needs to be applied if Nigerians want to go their separate ways in terms of either by region or by referendum. What does it entail? Because if that is going to work, it has to be all Nigerians, not just a segment. If a segment is doing that and the political elites are meant to push that and not pushing it, it wouldn't work. And before you know, you'll be called a terrorist, or you're acting as a state within a state unauthorized, and the military might heavily be used against you. We want to understand precisely how that works and if indeed Nigerians are ready for that. If they're not ready, then why can't we sustain a sense of nationhood and protect ourselves now that we have insecurity currently bedeviling us? Also, the political season is already very close and a lot of issues are being highlighted in the polity. Mr. Akpabio, the Senate President, said, "We did not promise you miracles or magic. We did not tell you we're going to do anything beyond the ordinary. What we did tell you was that we're going to introduce measures that are considered structural, calculated, and deliberate progress." And according to Godswill Akpabio, that's basically what they are doing. It's a gradual process, and they intend to continue in the next electoral cycle, meaning Nigeria should trust them in ensuring they enact that process. Let's take a listen to Godswill Akpabio again in that particular statement that he made.
Into office, I'm now speaking the voice of the president. When we came into office, we did not promise you miracles that would appear from thin air. We promised you structural, calculated, and deliberate progress. We promised a renewed hope agenda that will touch the lives of every Nigerian citizen, not just in economic statistics, but in the reality of their daily struggle. Today we are here witnessing that hope made tangible in concrete and asphalt by the FCT administration.
All right, that was Godswill Akpabio there. I spoke with Mr. Elvis this evening during the World News, and he corroborated by saying that yes, it's true, they didn't promise magic. They didn't say they were going to do anything beyond the fact that these are the areas we're going to actually work on, and that the president said, "It is my turn." He didn't say that I'm going to do this for you, but based on the essence of "it is my turn." So like I said, we'll speak on these issues. They're very important to be highlighted. We need to have these conversations because Nigeria needs to understand that they only have themselves and no other person. And what is the common enemy bedeviling us? Right now, insecurity and economic hardship. How do we fight it together? How do we work on it together? It's a very big question, but we need to talk about it. Trump is not going to aid you. I mean, we heard recently by security expert Ladi Thompson, telling us precisely that 150 million naira was given to Trump by the Nigerian government to stop him from intervening in Nigeria, supposedly about the whole Christian genocide situation. And that is away from the $90 million by a supposed firm to lobby the United States of America. So I am telling you that the political class, at some point in time, you may think they represent your interests, but in reality, that's not the case. Our analyst this evening is Mr. Awa Omiko, and I'll be calling Barrister Fred Nzako very shortly as well. Mr. Awa, good evening. How are you?
Fine. Good evening.
I'm happy that you're here with us.
Thank you.
VOP is 4 years old, and it's our anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, to all of us. To all of us. Thank you, Mr. Awa. Okay, now here is the situation, Mr. Awa. I know I call you historian because I bring you here to provide a historical perspective to the current issues plaguing us. Every sector of Nigeria is plagued, and you would wonder for a country that is rich with vast resources, resources that other nations envy. You know, in one particular parameter or perimeter, we have oil, we have uranium, we have gold, we have copper, we have coal, we have iron ore, beautiful mineral resources. Unfortunately, despite these resources being under our feet, we are supposedly the most malnourished when it comes to our children. We have regions that are devastated and retrogressive. We're not seeing structural development across the entire 36 states of the Federation. We have areas that you wouldn't even know there is no presence of government, where you're having non-state actors take charge in all of those communities. Meanwhile, we have governors in all of these states. We supposedly have institutions that are supposedly governing the states, but the presence of governance is absolutely lacking. The local government that is meant to supposedly be more impactful seems to be non-existent, and the state government seems to be so high up there, lofty high, supposedly either to please the executive or looking at other personal agenda rather than delivering adequate true democratic values at the grassroots level. So you now have Nigerians looking for means to survive, and in such instances, they become or they fall into the whims and caprices of certain elements. The huge elephants that Nigerians are facing at this moment is insecurity. For them, they don't mind not eating. They want to be able to sleep and wake up. They want to be able to travel from one vicinity or location to another. But we're not having a government that assures that this can take place. And to withstand all of this, we now have a hard economy. The social welfare is something else. So living conditions are nothing to write home about. There is no difference between the poor and the average Nigerian. And when we look at the situation, you see them look for any means to leave the country, the whole Japa situation. But right now, Nigerians are being asked to return home. South Africa, Nigerians are being asked to return home. Even some of these other countries like the UK, Canada, US, before you know, they bring in immigration policies that stifles how people have entrance into their territories. So let's go back in countries close to us, Ghana and South Africa. In the case of Ghana, at what point did they ask Nigerians to leave before now?
Yeah, well, you've asked, you've juggled so many things together.
No, I didn't juggle.
Don't worry.
What I tried to do.
You've put all in one basket.
Okay.
And I'll try gradually to dissect all. Let me start with Ghana. This is not the first time Ghana is trying to make us leave their country. Way back 1969, when they had when they had economic crisis, they made Nigerians to leave. Because there were a lot of Nigerians in Ghana then. In fact, Nigerians began to travel to Ghana as far back as 1877, over 300 years ago. Nigerians were already in Ghana. In fact, the Ghanaians then called us Alata. That Alata simply means it was the ship. There was no land transport there. They were going by ship that took Nigerians there. The name of that ship was called Alata. So they said people from Alata. And gradually, the place we settled
were mostly the Ga area, known as Accra. Accra. And Accra simply means a black ant. And they said Nigerians, just like the way you described Nigerians, they said Nigerians are workaholic. And because of that, they referred us as black ants. Because of that, they said Nigerians are black ants. Because we are workaholic, we are industrious, and we any available space. And any available space, we turn into a commercial center. So, but then, you should know, as people migrate, there must be crisis. And we continue to expand. Because then, Ghana was more or less like industrial hub of West Africa. Down to 1969, the Ghanaians felt things that the economy was hard on them, and so they have to allow the foreigners to live. Mind you, those they allowed to live were not Nigerians alone.
Okay.
But Nigerians were more. But they did it in such a piecemeal way that they even forced you, even once the announcement was made, they don't want to know where you are. It was more or less like a fire brigade approach. To the extent that some Nigerians sold their property at a giveaway price.
Nice.
Some even didn't even come home with much. They were rushed down, all an attempt to leave Ghana. They came back to Nigeria in peace. They sold their things in a way in amounts they never expected. And that was it then. And if you can use that means, if you calculate that means, you see that countries have begun to use it as an economic weapon to easing their own plight. And equally Nigeria, during the tenure of Shehu Shagari, actually applied the same measure to say foreigners should leave. But we weren't particular about Ghanaians. The government only said foreigners should leave. And foreigners should leave included other West African countries that were not legally into the country. And that was just that. So we did not use it. We use it as an economic weapon to reduce crime during the time of Shehu Shagari and to reduce the economic burden. Because of then, you see that almost all the jobs were taken over by Ghanaians. And that was exactly what happened when Nigerians too were there. They were involved in teaching. They were involved in so many things. And then, the Naira, 1 Naira was equivalent to 30 cedis. So you can see that when a Ghanaian comes here and makes 5 Naira, it was equal to 60 or 40 cedis in their country. And a job, I'm just giving you a graphic example. Yeah. A job a Nigerian ought to have taken for 45 or 30,000 Naira. A Ghanaian will take it for 20 Naira. So Nigerians felt bad and cried out. And just as it was, government had and they left. And since then, it has always been one altercation or the other until what is happening now. But look at it from any angle, either through economic policy or government policy or even the socio-economic policies, you discover that it's still not the best way to treat African countries. Because we are all fighting for the elevation of Africa and to make Africa better.
Well, I agree with you. And I also understand where the South Africans are coming. Because one would have wondered for people who had gone through apartheid.
I just worked on Ghana. I never moved to South Africa.
Okay.
Now,
you ended like you had ended your
No,
talk.
I just stopped that of Africa, of Ghana. Now, if you look at what has snowballed into South Africa, if you look at Africa, if you look at Ghana, though I'm not speaking for them, you could say it would be permissible to a level, because then Ghana was seen as the capital of West Africa. In times of politicalization, in terms of economic participation, in terms of political education, in terms of anything you can think of. And by 1957, they had their independence.
They had their independence
Before us, yes. And so they were more or less like the four front states in West Coast and West Africa. If you go back to while I say it is even better, while I say we can still excuse Ghana, though it is not excusable, was that even in South Africa, during the time of apartheid was so bad that, in fact, I just don't know how to describe it. What we're seeing now as crisis in Nigeria was just nothing near it. There was this racial discrimination where blacks were allowed to live in the worst part of that country called South Africa. They were maltreated, poorly educated. They were given the worst of governance and economic. In fact, most of them were not even allowed to work. Imagine the situation where they say dogs are allowed, South Africans are not allowed in a particular place. Where you be moving on the road will be demarcated. One for the whites and one for the blacks. The better ones for the whites. The worst, the ghettos for the blacks. Then African nations came together to say, this cannot continue. There must be a change, that they must pull down apartheid. And Nigeria was in the forefront of doing that because of the big brotherlism we had and we claimed we are as the biggest country in Africa. And Nigerians spent a lot of money, not in naira, but in dollars and pounds sterling. Not only the government of Nigeria spent, but students were taxed 50 kobo. Every Nigerian student, once you're in secondary school, they said for your brothers in South Africa. And they were released. And that government went down. And thank God, with the likes of Steve Biko, Mandela, Desmond Tutu, and others, which are too numerous to mention here. And that went down. And fast forwarding to 2000, that country itself began to track. It went on a drive that were encouraging people to come to their country. They were asking people, wherever you are, South Africa is the best place to visit. And they use a term, I think Akwa. Yeah, that you are welcomed to South Africa. It was a way to draw people to their country, and Nigerians and other African countries flooded in. And now you are treating them badly, just as the days of the apartheid.
Is it possible that the South Africans, the black South Africans, are going through what you call Stockholm syndrome? They seem to be replicating what they went through with their fellow Africans.
I wouldn't really call that. In fact, partially true. You are partially right. But I would rather say it is more or less like a vendetta. If you look at those of them that experience apartheid, and those whites, and those mixed colored people that experience apartheid, must have now come to say, this is our time to take our own pound of flesh. And you see some of them sponsoring to say, what are these people doing here? And if you look at South Africa, their body, by the way the people are, they are not as industrious as Nigerians, and they are not as creative as Nigerians. They are not as innovative as Nigerians. And you can see that in the DNA of every Nigerian, enterprise is embedded.
So you think that caused envy, jealousy, which is now seeping hatred?
You just described, you just gave us just some seconds ago. You gave a pornographic description of Nigerians.
Yeah.
You said any space they see, they put into use.
Yes.
And you see, when these Nigerians go to South Africa, when they see that, look, there are a lot of things lacking here, they begin to make provisions for themselves.
Yeah.
For instance, corn roasting.
Yeah.
South Africans don't do that. But Nigerians say, no, there is corn here. We can help ourselves by doing corn roasting. And they began to make money, it became an enterprise. And some of them began to make good money out of it. And became an enterprise. One, if you just the social aspect too, when you interview some of their ladies, they say Nigerians are more caring because they have this culture of abusing women in South Africa.
Okay, so somebody said Akbaba is for Ghana.
Okay.
Not South Africa.
Okay, sorry for that.
Welcome.
Okay. Welcome. There was a term used by South Africa to ginger people to come to South Africa. So and if you look at it, they when they were encouraging people, they built up infrastructures.
Okay, hold on. When this apartheid you talked about collapsed in 1994, right? Political liberation arrived alongside economic expectation. The democratic South Africa symbolized possibility, like you mentioned, where a lot of Nigerians and other Africans flooded in. It drew migrants from across the continent seeking opportunity. The world appeared to be Africa's most industrialized economy because of the one people that set up a good economy there. But the complaint was that liberation was distributed unevenly. In the aspect of the fact that political citizenship expanded, very true, but economic transformation lagged. Joblessness remained severe, inequality deepened, informal settlements expanded. And so, for millions of South Africans, the freedom felt symbolically triumphant, yet materialistically incomplete.
Yes, that is. I'm coming to that too. You see, with the iron curtain pulled down, there was a very great gulf, a dichotomy between the advanced white and colored. Because when you begin to talk of South Africa, we don't only have white people there. We have actually mixed races like the Indians coming, the Arabs, and Lebanese. So these people coming to South Africa came on exploration, and expansion of their businesses. The industrial area were occupied by these whites and mixed people, and mixed colored people, and the blacks. Mind you, within the days of apartheid, they lacked skills. Education wasn't much.
Yeah, you said so.
And the ability to work with people wearing them, because they were coerced and fear was built into them.
Oh, I even heard amongst themselves, they have different tribes and they also envy themselves. They fight amongst their own tribes.
You can see the Kyokiel and the bushman, with the way somebody is a bushman.
And a particular tribe considers themselves more superior than the others.
So all those things were the mental part of the mental enslaved. I wouldn't use the word enslavement, but the part of the mental.
You're right. It's mental enslavement.
No, I wouldn't want to use the word enslavement because they had been colonized before that period.
Okay.
So I rather put it as part of the batch of apartheid. You see, when that batch is there, they still see themselves as being inferior. Even look at before the demise of Nelson Mandela. He said, "You don't fight with people by physical strength. You're not going to win them. That the only way you can be equal to the blacks, to the whites, is to have education and skills." But how many of those blacks have such educations and skills. And if you watch most of our Nigerians going there, we're not going there as an unskilled people.
Obviously.
You see some our educated people going there. And when they get there and these white people find them able to take certain jobs, they give them those jobs. And the South Africans are there not having the skills and became envious of us. And these are some of the challenges. And when they opened, I was talking about infrastructure. And when they opened, when the Iron Curtain fell, they opened their country for people to come in. In fact, all walks of, let me just say, all across the globe, to come to South Africa. Because then they were looking for what? Skilled people, and they were looking for those, they just want to make the world feel that they are now friendly and friendlier, and that the days of apartheid is gone. They began to build infrastructures, began to build structures, and began to make sure that the government embraced more blacks. But were we able to fill the gap they gave us? The answer remains capital no. When I mean we, I mean blacks.
According to Zeno Watch data, between 1994 and 2024, South Africa has recorded 1,089 incidents of xenophobic violence. I don't know if you have seen the way they kill their fellow African people. The recent situation, they gave Nigerians June 24 to leave the country. Before then, they've been looting a lot of shops. I'm particular about Nigerians because, like I said, it feels like Nigerians show other people love than they show themselves. And then Nigerians show love to themselves outside the country than when they're within the shores of Nigeria. It's ironical. I really don't understand. They understand that togetherness when they're outside is better. They protect themselves. Let me give you an instance. When my younger brother was relocated, there was a WhatsApp group created. They were like, okay, fine. This is our community. Welcome. This is where you can buy a local food. This was after he got married. This is where you can buy your food. This is what you can do. And in that group, Nigerians from all different groups, ethnic groups, were there. Nigerians that you're relocating, you're going to find yourself. And I'm not just referring to maybe UK. It's UK, US, Canada, Philadelphia, anywhere, even Antarctica. There is a group there which tells you where you can get good accommodation depending on what you're going there to do. If it's a permanent stay, if as an immigrant, if it's a study visa, they tell you precisely how you can navigate the system.
Even if you enter illegally.
They'll tell you how to navigate the system. Something they find difficult to do to themselves here. And that's what shocks me, because I feel that the average Nigerian does not hate themselves. Despite our differences in our ethnicities and religion. It's so sad, Mr. Awa, because it tells you how this mental enslavement by the political elite has eroded our common sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's why I'm having this conversation today, because when South Africa is doing what they're doing, you ask yourself, what differentiates them from some Nigerians back home, where somebody will tell you, we don't want you in our state. Get out of here. We don't need you. We won't give you a job or employment. Or they ask you before they give you a job, what region you're from, what state are you from? And it's wrong, because we ought to have gone beyond that. And I asked a question one day, I said, if, God forbid, a war starts off here, do you have a private jet or a helicopter to jet out of this country when things are burning? No. You will suffer, you will die. It's the elite who will leave, like what happened in Nepal. So, at the end of the day, is it not we that are meant to protect ourselves from these elements who seem to want to favor by dividing, and rather than focusing on their responsibility of delivering good governance?
You see that that's what you just said. That was what you said earlier on, when you said Nigerians more united outside than within. Will it surprise you that in some states, I've said it here once, in some states we still have casual workers in government offices. You are a casual worker, you remain a casual worker because you are not an indigene of that state. And that is common in the northern states. I think, and I'll still give Lagos State and maybe a Ekiti State and so on. good marks, they're able to absorb non-indigenous into their civil service.
Yes. Very true.
So that casualization and everything, it cuts across. I may be a casual worker in that state for as long as you stay. And once they get a replacement, they take you off. So the difference is that you are in your country being treated like a foreigner. While it becomes more painful when even an outsider treats you like that, and to the point of death, they don't want to know. Since you are from Nigeria, go home and take good care of your country. And when you even come to this country, you are treated the same way. So it becomes very, very bad. I was saying something when I mentioned the women of South Africa. They believe Nigerians take care of them better than their fellow Africans. Sorry, than their fellow South Africans. Do you know why? They have the culture of beating their women. The way they handle their women is so appalling to the point that UN, United Nations, has to even set up a committee to look into that and to do what is known as sex education and reorientation.
For the men.
For the men, they do what is known as sex punishment, where a lady could offend, maybe got a word in another, and you could see the father hiring men to bounce on that lady as a form of punishment. They do it. It's part of their culture. And some women will not come out. Only very few of them will come out and to denounce it. Some will come, and when they see Nigeria holding them tightly and treating them better, it may be physical and otherwise, holding them tightly and treating them better, they feel much more at home. And some of these South Africans felt it is a form of Nigerians intervening their culture and eroding that country, and that is not what they want. So there could be so many, apart from socio-economical problems attached to it, political problems, and envy, jealousy, and all this put together made them to say Nigerians must go. Because they fail to forget that we're more or less a frontline state when they were suffering, when they were bleeding. When South Africans couldn't bleed, Nigerians were paying, sponsoring them, giving them scholarship, even brought them to Nigeria here to be educated by our federal government in our universities for free. One of my classmates was in South Africa, then Unilag. And they were educated for free on scholarship. And some of them were even given federal government appointments. But now, they're doing us in a bad coin. I hope the government, and thank God that the government is gradually responding now. At least the government of South Africa last time spoke against it and warned South Africans to maintain.
That was just lip service.
But from his language, yes.
I mean, the police accompany these guys.
The guy is to even, but he should put much more effort to make sure that Nigerians there are safe.
They're not doing it. We talked about just hold on.
Nigerian government is trying to bring back our people.
Yes, we're bringing back, but like I said, there's an issue with. Anyway, we'll get into that.
Okay, yeah,
because let it not seem as if we have all those resources and it's difficult to entrench good governance and create an economically flexible system, why would you have Nigerians? Do you know there are Nigerians in Burkina Faso? There are Nigerians in Mali, Niger. You see Nigerians in countries that you never even think any sane Nigerian will go there and stay. They will stay there. And they will tell you they prefer their economic conditions there than their own home country.
Esther, that's one thing you need to do. Man is a mobile. Even if we have all corrected, there will still see some that want to leave the country. Either for control, either for exploration, either for expansion of business, other just to have a new wave of life. So there could be so many reasons people are moving. Some people are not just moving for economic reasons.
Some
even
are.
I'm not
Most
really
Nigerians
I'm
are.
not really about. Some are even moving out for religious reasons.
Very true. Do you know that?
There's so many reasons.
Sir, do you know?
But we can't rule out the fact that if a country is economically viable, politically sound and stable, it have the right infrastructures. When I mean infrastructures, I mean everything from the education to the health sector,
Exactly.
to all everything you can think of. There'll be less of us moving.
Do you know I heard that the University of Ibadan Teaching Hospital was one of the greatest hospitals that we had foreigners coming in there for treatment?
I even learned, as I learned, I can't really quote the man now. The man that was treated at University of Ibadan Teaching Hospital saw the facility and was so amazed that this type of facility could be in West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And the man went to Middle East to replicate it. And that was where one of our heads of states, when he travels to Middle East, goes
to stay
and have his health checked. It shows the type of leadership we have. See, if our leaders are proactive, if you are not thinking of our pockets and of ourselves, if you don't take away greed,
exactly.
Kings, I'm not saying Kings politics is a killing politics. If you don't take away greed, don't take away religion, practice government, put it the way it should be, make it people-centered, and build infrastructure across board, we keep on having things like this.
All right, sir. Africans may share colonial roots, but we do not all carry the same scars. One reason Afrophobia often shocks West Africans is that we assume colonialism produced similar psychological damage across the continent. It did not. West Africa largely endured extractive colonialism. Colonial governments exploited resources, imposed administration, and subordinated populations, but the average Nigerian, though oppressed, was rarely transformed into a permanent stranger on ancestral soil. Nigerians know how to modify, regenerate, become part of any system they find themselves. And I think they're the only ones with such a gene.
Well, I think so.
You see the same?
I agree.
We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll be speaking with Barrister Fred Nzako. The reason why I'm calling Barrister Fred is if Nigerians are saying we can't stay in this contraption, as they call it, anymore, we need to find our way. We need to, what's the legal process of doing that? If you're saying we should go at different regions, we should separate, we should come back to the negotiation table, what is the official process of doing that without bloodshed, without devolving into a civil war? Because that's what everybody seems to be saying.
They're saying it.
Exactly. We'll take a very short break and we'll be right back. Issues within our country. So, congratulations to us, sir.
Thank you, Esther. Congratulations too for the good works you are doing. I wish to felicitate with your team and the whole family of VOP 90.3 FM.
Thank you so much.
And every good thing you've been doing for the benefit of our country, Nigeria. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Barrister Frank. Now, Barrister, why I called you specifically is this. Recently, and based on the tense political environment, with the insecurity escalating, you hear when issues come up, Nigerians will say, you know what, Nigeria has expired, we need to go our separate ways, we need to introduce regionalism, let everybody go sort themselves out, let everyone start developing themselves and all. And it feels like it's an impossible feat. So, Barrister, I called you. If Nigerians say this is what they want and they don't want to live together anymore, who are the people that will be responsible for starting that process? And that's one. Two, what is the legal requirement needed to start off that process? And three, will that help Nigeria move forward? If, as some Nigerians want it, for it to either disintegrate or we find our own way and develop ourselves in a different region based on your ethnic group?
Simple answers to your multiple questions. One, you ask who are the people. The people are Nigerian people. Everybody who occupies the geographical space called Nigeria seem not to be happy with Nigeria. Everybody. And when I say everybody, you can very easily discountenance with those who are having temporary enjoyment of the vulnerability and who seem to be enjoying temporarily. I use that word temporarily because at the end of the day, you find out that when that issue, when that thing that they think they're enjoying expires, they go back to lamentation. So everybody in Nigeria should be concerned, and it is the duty of everybody in Nigeria to make sure that life gets better for everybody in the country. Two, the issue of how it will be done. In movement to the historical origin of Nigeria, way before the colonial masters, way before 1800, what was this environment like? And then even though certain things cannot be retraced, you cannot reinvent certain worlds, but you can change the course of destiny by applying deep wisdom. Nigeria was not Nigeria before 1940. And even before the colonial masters came, there was nothing like Nigeria. How were the people engaging? Now, because of the evolution of mankind, no country remains what it was. America started as 10 republics, today there are 50 states. The same thing with China, the same thing with England, the same thing with, then you remember we had the USSR, and then today they have broken into about 10 republics. And even before they became USSR, there were about 15 republics that came together to become the union of the Soviet-style republics that eventually now scattered. You remember we had East and West Germany, and today you used to have a single German bloc, and today later at the point you had East and West Germany, and later they unified. The same thing with Korea, North and South. The same thing with Malaysia and Singapore. So the same thing with Pakistan and India. The dynamics of humankind requires that there will be change. So, and nobody should ever be afraid of change. Nigeria cannot pretend, Nigerians cannot pretend that they are enjoying Nigeria. Because if you have an opportunity to be in a position of financial or fiduciary opportunity, how about the rest of your people? How about the rest of your tribesmen? How about the rest of your native people? Are they also enjoying the same like Jews? Of course, the answer is no, because it never goes round. Now, what can be done to ensure the greater good for greatest number of people? The concept of proponent by Jeremy Bentham cannot be thrown away, cannot be thrown overboard, because the whole essence of living is to ensure that there is greater good for the greater number of people. Is there greater good for the greater number of people in Nigeria? The answer is no. If in a population of between 220 and 250 million people, 175 million are living below poverty line, it tells you that more than 60% of Nigerian people are suffering in a land of plenty. And what is the solution? There are so many theories. And of course, you know that because it is in the realm of theorization, everybody will have his own opinion and everybody will have his own nuances and the way he feels that the country will be wrong. The soldiers will tell you, when during the war, they said go on with one Nigeria. The concept of one Nigeria was propounded. And today, even those who were crying go on with one Nigeria today are so disillusioned with the so-called one Nigeria. Every part of the country seems to be shouting marginalization. Every part. Even those who are in power today will tell you that they were marginalized yesterday and there's prospect that they will be marginalized tomorrow. So if everybody is shouting marginalization, what is the best way forward? Esther, we have sat down as a think tank to look critically into Nigeria. And as far back as year 2000, I keep saying this, I started with the profound with promotion of true fiscal federalism and the concept of restructuring. And in all my analysis and in all my thoughts and in all my studies, I have not seen an option that is better than restructuring. For now, I have not. And that means that Nigeria has two main options. Is that Nigeria restructures along the line of true fiscal federalism for growth and development of almost all parts of the country, for maximization of enjoyment of life for the greater number of people, or Nigeria dismembers. It's a stark reality. Dismembering means Nigeria will be cut into pieces. The Igbos will go their way, the Yorubas will go their way, the Hausas will go their way, the Fulanis will find their way, and every other tribal region. The challenge with that option is there are over 200 ethnic groups in Nigeria, speaking over 250 different languages. How do you want to break up? If you want to break up, are you breaking up along linguistic lines or along tribal lines? That means you'll be looking at having 250 countries or 200 countries out of the current Nigeria, which of course is impossible. And that is why the other option becomes the most feasible, the option of restructuring, whereby each zone today, you see, sometimes when people think, thoughts are divine. Scientists and inventors, they invented stuffs from divine thoughts. God will not come down from heaven, but will direct the thoughts of man towards invention. That is why the inventors invented electricity. They begin to talk about people like Albert Einstein, people like Newton, and all inventors. These are all human beings. These are all human beings. Our brother Philip Emmanuel, of course you know him, he's still there. The father of the internet. He's a human being. And every invention is like somebody, is like God speaking, or divinity speaking through somebody for the betterment and improvement of humanity. That is invention. Divinity speaking through somebody for the improvement of humanity. And when you talk about even socio-political strengthening of things in a country that is warped and confused, it will still come in form of divinity speaking through human beings. Our brother Dr. Leslie about blessed memory, God spoke to him and he propounded the theory and the concept of zonal arrangement in Nigeria. And that is why we have 6 geopolitical zones today. And everything in this country is being arranged administratively through the 6 geopolitical zones. And it is working seamlessly for us. What is left is for us as a nation, as a country, to be bold enough to inculcate the zonal arrangement into our administrative structure. In which case, what are you doing with 36 states this time, when a lot of the states cannot take care of themselves? What are you doing with lopsided local government creation, when even some people, as we speak, as they're asking for more states and more local government to be created? The fallibility of human beings, where selfishness and greed will not allow them to think beyond their nostrils. Today, we are looking at a lopsided creation of states, and it is a sore point and a point of complaint by the Southeasterners that they were given only 5 states when the Northwest has 7 and other zones have 6. But I'm telling you that the complaint that Kanu has for the 4 local governments, whereas between Kanu and Jigawa, that used to be old Kanu states, there are 71 local government areas, more than the whole number of local governments in the Southeast. Meanwhile, each local government draws funds from federation accounts. Wow. Draws from federation accounts. And where does the money that they share every month? The money comes from Niger Delta. The golden goose that lays the golden egg that is abandoned after the laying of the golden egg. The golden goose that lays the golden egg that gets famished. The egg will be taken, and the hen and the goose that lays the egg is abandoned to get famished. And instead they will pretend to be taking care of Niger Delta. Go and look at the environmental despoilation that keeps them unabated. Meanwhile, it is the resources of Niger Delta that seem to be feeding the entire country. Whereas the resources in the north are illegally mined, criminally mined, by some people without the benefit of the country or for the rest of Nigeria. Mister, how do you think that a man or the woman in Niger Delta will be happy with what is going on? When their own God-given resources is for all of us, but the God-given resources of the north is for the north. Is that not crass injustice?
It is.
How do you solve the injustice? In the midst of all this injustice, they will tell you, oh, they will not allow the man to become president. For what? What is his crime? What is his offense? They begin to say that narrative, and you think it is not serious, or it is just a method. You see it take place in action, in practice. That a little boy, even from the crucible, the young boy will stay in the same school and primary school. When they want to take the exam into unity school, you ask the boy from Anambra to score 139. You ask the boy from Imo to score 138. You ask the boy from Enugu to score 136. You ask the boy in Delta to score 135. You tell the boy in Zamfara to score 5. And they will all come to the same unity school. And by the time they manage to come out, the same boy from Zamfara who scored 5, or the boy from Sokoto who scored 6, will be given juicy appointment in NNPC, in CBN, in the master, and in such juicy locations.
Or Nigerian customs.
Or Nigerian customs. And then you think that the rest of the people will be happy about it. Esther, I tell you, and that is why some people feel frustrated being Nigerians. And when such injustice continues unabated, and it is even getting to the crescendo, to the point of administrative nepotism, propagated by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, and made worse by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime, where you are only interested in the people from your zone, your pride, your legitimacy, and the rest of the people will be undermined, irrespective of the provision of the federal character principle in the Constitution. Today, so many things about the Constitution do not hold waters. What now happens is the whim of the king. Nigeria is run like a proverbial empire where the king makes no mistake, whereas we claim to be in a democracy. So in the midst of all this, there are indices that lead to frustration in the land. Nnamdi Kanu, what is his essence of struggle? He feels the people in his class, the people of his age, they have sat down to analyze the country and they don't feel belonged. And they begin to agitate. It's either you bring us in or you allow us out. That is the whole essence of the agitation. Where has it ended? People who have committed worse crimes, he was agitating. Peaceful agitation. Yes, insulting angrily, just by word of mouth. But people who take up arms against the state, who kill, are, in a manner of speaking, rehabilitated. Not just rehabilitated, pampered and appeased. But the man who said, if you don't want me in, please let me go. He has not taken up arms against anybody. He has not been seen destroying any property. He just, by word of mouth, asks for his freedom. Where is he today? In prison. With an undetermined fate. They said it is life sentence. A judgment that went below the time that the handling chase will say infra dignitatem, a judgment that was simply below. And
Barrister, please, what is infra again?
Infra dignitatem.
Infra dignitatem.
Infra dignitatem.
Yeah. Continue, sir.
Yeah. So, and that is what we are seeing. Today, the country keeps moving as if nothing happened. And the young man is languishing in the Faraway Sokoto prison. It made it difficult for him to even process his appeal against the unjust judgment. It was not just judgment that was delivered, judgment that does not have justice. He is not unable to even process his appeal because he's thrown very far from his lawyers and from even the environment where he could process his appeal. Meanwhile, we have a gulag in Abuja. Ordinarily, what is wrong with keeping him there? So, when you now sit down to look at the level of injustice in Nigeria, and that is why so many people, when they feel so frustrated, they run away from the environment. Because Nigerian environment will either break somebody or make the person almost look like as if the person is becoming mentally deranged. Because so many things happening around you will be unexplainable, inexcusable, and you cannot understand whether we are part of humanity. Yet, this is a country that is massively blessed by God in so many ways, on land, on sea, under the ground, and in the air. Everywhere around us is blessed. So, the simple question is, what do we do going forward? Do we dismember in fragments? The former Yugoslavia dismembered in fragments. Today, 6 nations came out of the old Yugoslavia. 6 nations. And Southeast alone is bigger than so many countries in Europe. Southwest is bigger than so many countries in Europe. And every zone in Nigeria is equally the same. But if we are afraid of dismembering, which of course, some protagonists will say that is the best, some antagonists will say no, that even when you dismember, you continue to dismember. Just like the catalyst that continues to break, that until it gets to the atom and gets to the level of atomic level. Because it continues to break. When you break the bigger one, you just like a big rock, you continue to chip it down until you get granules of stone. But then that is the idea of the antagonist of freedom. Others will tell you no, allow a referendum so that people will on their own decide their fate, decide their future, decide their life. It is not far-fetched. In 1963, there was a referendum by public.
Sorry, 63 or 62?
1960, was it 62? 62 or 63? There was a referendum that after which the old Midwestern region was pulled out from the old Western region. And Sandenis or Sandene became premier of Midwestern region. Part of old Western region and part of old Eastern region came in to become the Western region. I mean, to become the Midwestern region. It was by referendum. And that is the way to go in a civilized environment. Britain decided not to join the others in the EU by referendum. In Spain, there was a referendum whether to allow Catalonia to be free or not. And there are similar cases of referendum practice or referendum process all around the world. In an environment where people find it difficult to unite and fuse into nationhood, because Nigeria is yet not a nation. Nigeria is not a nation, Nigeria is a country. Yes. And that is why it was aptly described as a geographical entity by the late Chief of Africa 101. As a geographical entity. Because he has looked deep into the crucible of Nigeria and found disunity working on all fours. And even as far as then, you can imagine what is going on today. Today, there is no fear in anybody. There is no decorum in anybody. There is no respect of rule of law in anybody. Everybody is like a obedient state of nature where mind is right. When there's a channel in one of these cable television, like Joe Wiley, when you go and watch it, it gives you a classical example of what Nigeria is like. It's a case of the lion hunting the antelope, the cheetah hunting the other animals, and just like that, everybody trying to hunt down the other. And that's one. There's no middle point of organization as a country. In a situation where we practice civilian democracy, and we say we have three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, each being watching oversighting the other, so that we'll continue to have a livable human environment. As we speak today, Esther, who is watching over each? Who is watching over the other? Everybody's eye is on money. Everybody. Money. It's only in this country that the expression that the money is the root of all evils. It has a very deep meaning. Everybody. Money. Nobody is interested in working for the good of the land. If you see people work, they work because money will come out of it. And that is why there are so many rich people, but there is very little philanthropy. Very little. It took Timikata from America to come and fight in the war, to eradicate the war in Nigeria. It took Bill Gates from America to come and fight against polio. It took Rotary Club, established in the United States, to come and join hands and fight polio. Right? Out of all the multi-billionaires that fly private jets all around the place, meanwhile, Nigeria is the country with the third largest number of private jets in the world. Nigeria is the country with the third largest number of private jets in the whole world. Does it not beat your imagination? Yes. Yes. Where is the philanthropy? Because the level of wickedness in Nigeria is so high. At the state level, at the federal level, at local government level, at the individual level, the only common denominator in this country is money. At the end of the day, people grab what they don't eat. Primitive acquisition of wealth. Somebody will take the whole money that belongs to the country or to the state. When he feels it is too much, he will run to another country to go and deposit it and waste it. A lot of them will go and keep money in Swiss bank that when they die, there will be no trace. At least that of Abacha gave us an idea of the kind of wealth that was stolen from this country. Oh, Abacha is late, yes. How about the other leaders? Has anybody traced their own? Has anybody traced their own? Or you think that Abacha was alone in primitive acquisition of the country's wealth? Most other leaders are equally as guilty, but because they are lucky to be alive, they become untouchable. In a country where the law, the strength of any law in any nation is the capacity to protect the weak. Any law that does not protect the weak is not doing well. And I can tell you that Nigerian laws are not doing well because the weak are not protected, the weak are not taken care of. They say the strength of a chain is the strength of its weakest link, not in Nigeria. So, to round up with your question, Esther, we have only two major options. It's either we dismember by referendum or we restructure. And the beauty of restructuring, which is my own paradigm and which is my own advocacy, is that it will allow that freedom that is needed, yet still keep us together as one entity. But in a loose federation where there will be understanding, where there will be healthy competition, and where there will be minimal jealousy and wickedness in the land. Today, it is like a rat race. Everybody is scrambling. The same way Europe scrambled for partition Africa in 1885. That is where Nigerians are scrambling for Nigeria's wealth as we speak. And nobody thinks about the country. And that is why you have 250 million inhabitants of Nigeria with very few citizens of Nigeria. How do you talk to people to be citizens?
Barrister, thank you.
Only restructuring anchored on true fiscal federalism will solve most of this mess.
Barrister Frederick Zako, thank you so much. I sincerely do appreciate all of you breaking it down. Barrister is a teacher. See how you took his time to break things down, just like Mr. Awawiko. Barrister, God bless you. To have yourself a wonderful evening, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to get your reaction on the conversation. Today, we have the healthy breakdown from Mr. Awa Abiko, giving us a historical perspective of what's going on that we're experiencing, calling xenophobia, Afrophobia, and the phobias and like. And obviously, Barrister Frederick Zako telling us the path to go. If indeed Nigeria says, we don't want to do together again, he's giving you the safe options that wouldn't lead to bloodshed. But then at the same time, he says there's nothing really wrong with Nigeria. It's kind of leadership that we've had that has supposedly given that frailty in our unity, created that frailty in our unity. The number to call is 080-3692-9933. 080-3692-9933. The WhatsApp number is 0817-1756-338. 0817-1756-338. That is a WhatsApp number. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Welcome to our first call on the program today. What's your name?
Well, my name is Patrick. I'm calling from Okota.
Patrick, welcome.
Yes, I want to really appreciate the analysis that my brother has given this evening, and I want to greet him and thank him for all that he has said.
All right, sir.
Exactly, he has just painted the picture, just like he told you, nature-wise, what you call it in this recharge,
restructuring.
Yes, so it's an animal kingdom, and that's what I want, that's my best channel anyway. And that is the likeness of what is happening in Nigeria today. It's very unfortunate that Nigeria does not exist in the minds of Nigerians, whereby whoever emerges as a leader, first of all, look at his own tribe. For appointment, for consideration. Look at the picture he has painted. My son will go and write exam simply because from a particular part of the country, the one that has lower marks, we now head in the department of my son that has higher marks while they were writing exam. What kind of a situation is this? Nnamdi Kanu is languishing in jail, life imprisonment. Then the people who have killed are being rehabilitated, alive, and bring back into the society. We cannot continue like this. We need a referendum. The recommendation, I go with it completely, 100%. We need a referendum. It's either we work together or let us go to the other side. That's better for us to assemble ourselves and feel together. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you, Patrick, for calling. Okay, sincerely, I appreciate your input. Hello.
Hello, Esther.
How are you?
Good evening. My name is Robert. I am calling you from Apapa. Good evening, sir. I greet your guests.
Mr. Robert, thank you for calling.
Esther. I know when they were pursuing Ghana, those days, they say Ghana must go, something like that. You know, nobody knows that history will also tell us not. I think those days, they say, oh, your man, the tailor work, Ghana, they said for and people. But today, their country is better. Which Ghana, over many years, I've not even set my eye on any Ghana facing in our country. I try to compare the Ghana's with Nigeria police.
it's like their currency is even more valuable than us. Imagine Ghana telling us to go in at the end of Africa. Let me come back home. If you have a brother or somebody that is writing down today as we speak, choose apart from the north, maybe a metro university or other northern universities that maybe you want to come because they are, I don't know, maybe I will say they are not.
Sir Robert, please hone in your points.
From the southwest here, choose or southwest side of my place, south. Choose a university. Maybe you are not from that state, and you score. They will tell you, they will first of all give their IPOB.
Yes.
And we are one Nigeria. This is supposed to be so. They will say, it did not. Those Unilag now, for example, me, I am from this, so I don't. You see, before you get that admission, even though you score anything, you will sweat. I'm telling you. The thing is in our blood, we black. I don't know why it's like that. I don't just know. We are not one. If some get
Mr. Robert, Mr. Awa.
Yes.
I don't know if I would say it's grace or if it is luck. In the concept of my career, I never experienced drive as an indicator for employment. Let me give you an instance. I worked in Unab Radio. Kudos to Madam Isiki Paul. I love that woman.
Recommendation.
No, Madam Isiki Paul.
Yes.
When I went, no recommendation. Yes, University of Lagos.
I know.
She was the director of Unab Radio at the time. It was in the Senate building before they took it back to Mascot department. And I just went there. And I said, I think I have a flair for this. Let me read your news. I've always followed MTA. This Nigerian woman that unfortunately passed on. I love the way she used to recast her news. And I went there and I read it just once. But I'm basically paused. You know what, Esther? Got it? I'm going to place you under someone. You're going to understudy the person. You're going to come in on students. That woman, Madam Bisi King Paul, she's my icon. I love her. That was University of Lagos. The second company I worked was a production. I was still in school at the time. During my BSc, I was still in school where I was working in Unilag. Then, before I graduated, I got a job at private companies, a production outfit. They used to outsource content for TVC. TVC just started, then they had issues with management at the time with content. Sometimes they'll start, they'll stop, and then come back again. There was a program called Grassroots Stewardship.
Independent producers?
Yes, independent producers. The name of this man, he owned a company called Indigo Multimedia. Mr. Tuli, a very great producer. And again, I went for an interview just once.
Private organization.
I'm just saying. I was just told to come for an interview. I went there, and it wasn't. I was to go for a presentation, but it was not presentation that got me the job. He told me write a report, and it was during Fashola's administration. That's why I said I love Fashola, and I wrote an essay on Fashola's administration, and I got the job. From there, I joined IFM. I'm just trying to tell you that all my journey, and I really don't know. It has always been about your capability, your competence, your ability to do well. I don't know how things devolved to this point.
And you see, most private organizations want to survive. So the only option they have is to choose a competent person. If you're not good on the job, no private organization want to pick, because their aim is to maximize profits and to remain in business. But if you begin to talk of government, it's a no-go area.
Fashola's government. I worked for
Fashola is fair. I've already said it, that when you begin to talk about having non-indigenous in Lagos State, Lagos State is doing well until the bad guys came in to start saying, go to your state. You see that? And Ekiti too is fairly well, is doing fairly well, and so on. But there are some states, even in the east, there are some states that will not employ somebody from Abia or somebody from Enugu. In the place, Enugu government may not employ someone from Igbo or Abia. It is this system. It is in our blood, and the issue of statism should even be wiped away. And that is what we've just been saying. The barrister just nailed the concept with what we've just been saying. That until we practice true federalism, nothing is going to move ahead. And when you begin to talk of solving some of these problems, like Bishop Jasper told me in confidence, he said, look, our size at times is our problem. By the time we caution, we begin to manage this problem at its microsystems. By the time you start managing these problems at its own microsystems, you'll be able to get a better grip of them than when you say the federal government is managing terrorism. Look at what is becoming. But when you begin to manage it from your kitchen, you'll be able to handle it properly. And that
Apami is telling us that they didn't promise us miracles.
Forget it. I think the man himself is that he's speaking from both sides of his mouth.
Hello. Hello, good evening. Hello, can you hear me? Turn down the volume of your radio.
Hello.
Good evening, what's your name?
Madam, I cannot hear you.
I can hear you. It's your device,
I also quite unfortunate that I cannot hear you. Because of my man and calling from
welcome, sir.
Especially thank you, and I want to thank you. Thank you. I want to really appreciate you for keeping important notes and making you know how we should behave. And I want to say this, though we cannot hear you because like this, I cannot hear you, but you can hear me. Of the analysis aspects of and the problem is in the need of trying to get things right. It's always very saddening when another set of people, group of people, come with another narrative, another ideology that is totally different from our own view. You know that the way this barrister, all the analysts are spoken now, some people are still so conservative in their small room. Trying to like look at these people in their country. They are so ignorant that as if all you have been saying is a joke and they are less concerned and they are so much in whatever they are doing. I love you, brother.
Oh, 0036929933. That's the number. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Welcome. What's your name?
Esther. Thank God for the first time.
Welcome, sir.
Not today. I'm engineer in Demo.
Engineer in Demo. Where is my bell?
Wow, for the first time.
Engineer, how are you?
I'm fine. Are you?
Now only your message I always read. So this is your voice.
I'm your ardent listener. You know now.
Yes.
I'm so happy tonight.
Yeah, welcome, sir. Thank you for calling.
I'm really enjoying your program.
Thank you.
But me to say that you are my good and you are really perfect at your job.
Thank you.
But the part that I like most is and the light of it. It was the real gift of any journalist to give.
Thank you.
Having said this, I greet your guest.
Mr. Awa.
I greet him.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. You have done justice.
This is from Biafra's Got Talent. We are letting Biafrans know the reason why we should remember those who gave their lives for us, those who died, that we may live.
You died to end my suffering.
no longer them. Military shots at them. 67 to 70, we remember them. 2016, 38 May, memory still lives in our mind till today. Wonder why they refuse to publicize the genocide. The world media turn blind eyes to our plight. It's time to arise, land of the rising sun. Let's rise one more time, let's rise.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipoja massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright. Tell them I touched me. Remember when me tell you say I touched me. Yeah, I remember that what I called a Bruce Mero. Like a papanuku, but then they were bonito. Me tell you what I look pandi, what pandi samiro. Me tell you what I did. For me the fella, the rest of man, I tell you what I did. Me never give up. Me tell them
I want to promise you something today. We must fight together, no retreat and no surrender. We must hold them down till the end of time. The most important thing is that we will restore Biafra.
I look up to the sky with tears in my heart for other Biafrans and for freedom had to die. We will never forget you as the days go by. You are always in my heart, you'll never be apart. They fought for our freedom, they died for our freedom. They fought the Nigerian soldiers in the war front without food, without guns, for our freedom, for our life, for our own good, for our children. We love them, our heroes, we want them.
My heart bleeds when I saw them slain. Where will I be now if not them? They will remain indelible in my heart forever, 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 and ever, and ever, and ever.
We serve in your plantation, and the way you paid us back with your bloody starvation.
We play in our history that the death of my people is a mystery. No going back to get to a victory. I had a voice now call for vengeance. I never get bombed, I'ma blow like a vengeance.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipoja massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Where will I be now? If not you, you died at Mali.
They were starved to death because of our freedom, and they paid the debt for our freedom. Flag high for those that died in the genocide, fighting for you and I. There is pain in the heart, we bleeding inside, tears in the eyes, so I'm falling here.
This is for my fallen heroes. Give them a motivation, people. It's like I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Cause we to be a cast, I need to be an us. If we did not retire,
They paid the ultimate price. They died for the freedom of unborn child. We live for the legacy. Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Onitsha massacre, Ipoja massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright. Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Onitsha massacre, Ipoja massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Yeah, put the flag in the air. Never be afraid. March on, cause we are more than conquerors. Yeah.